Welcome back to the Hope-tastic podcast. This season, I am talking to people and experts who have been diagnosed with cancer or who work with patients on a variety of topics that you said via survey that were important to you. These will be 20 to 60-minute conversations with people who are the real experts of the lived experience. I'm calling it the Spring Survivorship series. Today's show topic will be focused on long-term survivorship. My guest today is Miss Bobbi Cohen. Bobbi is an amazing survivor friend of mine out of the Chicago area. Please share a little bit about who you are and how you're impacted by lung cancer.
As Katie said, my name is Bobbi Cohen, and I am an 18-year lung cancer survivor. It doesn't really impact me on a day-to-day basis because I don't have any pain. I don't have to go for any kind of therapy, but it's always in the back of my head, not on a daily basis, but it's there. However, the gratitude I for being something I can't put into words. I attended my grandson's wife's baby shower on Sunday. This will be my first great-grandchild, and 18 years ago, I didn't think I'd live to see the next day. And here I am, loving it. And as I told Katie, it's a wonderful day. The sun is shining, and I can't wait to get this podcast started. So ask away, Katie.
That's fantastic, Bobbi. Before being diagnosed with lung cancer, had you heard of lung cancer before, or what were your thoughts about lung cancer?
I have to say, as a teenager, of course you hear about lung cancer, but you don't think about lung cancer, or I didn't think about lung cancer. I didn't have any symptoms of lung cancer. It was just one of those crazy things that happen, thank God. My daughter's ex-father-in-law, he wasn't an ex then, was a doctor. I had a racing heartbeat. He said, go to the emergency room. My daughter Lori said, oh, he's an alarmist. I said, well, I'm gonna go. To make a long story short, they did an abdomen CT scan, and it caught the bottom of my right lung, showing a nodule. The report said, don't think it's anything, wait 6 months, which is not my MO. So I happened to be going to another doctor that week, and I showed it to him. He immediately called a thoracic surgeon who had me do a chest scan, and the nodules that he found that he was almost positive were lung cancer were in the left lung, upper lobe. And that's how I found out I had lung cancer. Not a symptom, not a cough, nothing. We scheduled surgery. I went in, he did a wedge, came in, I told my kids, to him it looked like it was malignant, but the pathologist said it was benign. And the next day or the day after, Dr. Lipte, my thoracic surgeon, came into my room and said, sit down, which I was already doing, and said, I'm sorry to tell you, but the pathologist is wrong. It's malignant, and we have to do major surgery. They have to remove my upper lobe of my left lung. So as bad as hearing you have lung cancer is hearing you don't have it, and then you do have it. It was horrible.
Wow.
because you're up here when you hear it's benign, and then you're just thrown to the floor with 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 the news that it isn't benign. So I had the surgery. It was not fun, obviously. And then 3 months of chemo after that, which also was not fun. And the last day of my chemo, I was sitting in the waiting room crying
Mm.
hysterically. And my oncologist's nurse came over and what's wrong? And I said, these last 3 months, as icky as chemo was, and it was, not so much how I felt, but the needle, getting the needle in, because I did not have a port. But I said, I feel like I've been fighting it these last 3 months. And now that I'm going to be done with chemotherapy, it's like I
Oh,
don't feel like I'm fighting it anymore.
right.
And she said, that is such a normal reaction. Now, remember, 18 years ago, whole different thing, I think now. Um, but then it was really learning to live with lung cancer. In the beginning, I was going, I think it was every 3 months to the oncologist. It was, honestly, it was take a Xanax time because it was so scary as hell. And that went on for however long, and then it got stretched to 6 months. And then you do start living your life. Um, I was single and divorced. I had absolutely the first few years, I had no interest in meeting anybody, to have anybody in my life. And then suddenly you realize, well, I haven't died yet. So maybe I should start dating. And I did. And it was 9 years ago that I met Buddy, who unfortunately passed in December. But I guess my point is, when you realize that you're still here, no matter what stage, anything, you live your life. If you get in such a depression or whatever that you don't want to get out there, I mean, then you need to seek help, because there is a lot of life to live, whether it's 5 years, 1 year, 18 years. There's a lot of life. And in my 18 years, and this is what I wish for everybody, I have seen things. I've seen all four of my grandchildren bar and bat mitzvah. I've seen them graduate elementary school. I've seen them graduate high school. I've seen them, three of them graduate college. One is going to be a senior at USC. I've seen one grandson get married. Now there's going to be a great grandchild. My life is full. And this is what I want other people who are newly diagnosed, or even, years into their diagnosis. Just live your life, because you do have to, in the beginning, work at it, because it's scary, very scary, especially when, as still going for scans. And in my case, there's a lot of stuff going on in my lungs still. But I'm happy. I've gotten to see so many things. I've made wonderful, heartfelt friends through lung cancer. And that's something I think that every diagnosed person should know. There is hope.
Yeah, there absolutely is hope, and your story is so hopeful. I want to rewind back just a little bit to when you were initially diagnosed, 18, 15, even 10 years
Right.
ago. There's a lot of isolation for patients once we're diagnosed, is this somebody we can share our diagnosis with? Will our family members or friends or coworkers understand. Did you feel any of that isolation? And if you did, what helped you?
I didn't I didn't feel isolation. First of all, I was always very open about it. It was never a secret. It never even occurred to me to keep it a secret, although I know many people do. I had one friend, I mean, we were so, so close. She saw me once after my diagnosis and I never saw her again or got a phone call from her. That was painful because I thought we were friends. I mean, even her daughter, who lived across the street from my daughter, couldn't believe that her mother she wasn't there for me. And she's the only one out of everybody that really disappeared, totally disappeared. And, but again, I just never felt. I have a girlfriend, my best girlfriend from when I was 6 years old. She had breast cancer. She didn't want anybody to know, which was her prerogative. I mean, yes, of course I knew, but I mean the world per se, she didn't share. When I was diagnosed with lung cancer, it didn't even occur to me not to tell people. Not because at that point I was thinking, oh, maybe somebody will hear my story and be inspired or whatever, just because that's who I am. I guess I don't have a lot of secrets. And
You and
that
me
was
both,
one I
Bobbi.
wasn't ashamed of it. So, I have lung cancer. Okay, you may have something else and you don't want to tell me. That's fine. But I want to tell you.
I love that.
So that was just the way everybody's experience is so different because I do know people who family members won't even discuss it with them.
Right, right.
And I know a lot has come up, and I totally understand this. I guess I read it on Facebook. People hear from other people, "Oh, you look great. You must be okay."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's great to look great, but for the ones that are going through treatment or whatever, they aren't okay.
Right.
They aren't okay. But with the general world, you're not going to say, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
I feel
Hey, look at
crap
my
today or
scars.
whatever. Yeah, right. Right. Um, well, it's really, even when I go for, maybe I'm sharing too much, when I go for a mammogram and I'll say, well, these scars over here are because of, which they know, but it's, listen, and as happy as I am, 18 years, looking at some of the memories on Facebook, it crushes my heart when I see the
Let's
people.
talk about that. That's a little bit of it's a lot of sadness, but sometimes it's survivor's guilt too. Have you ever felt any kind of survivor's guilt?
I read about it
Yeah.
and I think, how come I don't have that?
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I guess my gratitude is bigger than any guilt I might feel.
Oh, I love that.
I don't feel guilty. I feel lucky.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that.
I mean, that's the truth. You know, to me, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And, I don't know how to play craps, but whatever the lucky part of it is, I guess up to this point, got it. I always have to put in, because I'm so superstitious, that I don't want to say I'm so lucky and I'm going to stay so lucky, because I know,
Yeah.
it can change at my next scan.
Right.
And, but I've wondered why I don't have survivor's guilt. I have survivor's gratitude. I guess that's what
Oh,
I
I
call it.
love that. Survivor's gratitude. Let's
Really, yeah.
turn that guilt into gratitude. That sounds like another podcast, Bobby.
But really, that is coming from my heart. That is true. I've I have wondered why I don't, but I don't.
Mhm.
I'm just so grateful as I enumerated all the things that I have been here to see. Excuse me. She, I have it turned off, but it's my daughter, so it comes
That's
through
okay.
anyway. Um, I've been able to see so many things. How could I feel guilty?
Yeah. So how do you process, because I know you're in the lung cancer community and you're
Right.
supporting others. How do you process that loss? Because we lose a lot of people that we care about.
It's, I think what it does, not that you need to be hit with a pie in the face because we all know, but it just makes it even more real that we just don't know. I mean, I'm not going to name names, but there were several long-term people who were fighting really all the way, and they don't make it. And to me, the sadness, the terrible sadness, are the young ones who have young children. I mean, my God, all the things that they're missing, and been to wakes for people, and it takes a little bit of your heart, each one.
It does.
It does.
It absolutely does. And I think sometimes that may be the driving force for some people to want to raise more awareness, or who want to become advocates or push for more funding for lung cancer research.
It's what's interesting is couple of people that I have done mentoring for, or they've said to me, because I say, actually, this was after COVID and the Zooms and everything. And one in particular that I think of, I didn't see her for quite a while. She came on a couple Zooms, and then I contacted her and I said, haven't talked to you in a while, whatever. It was too depressing for her. Just hearing about, she was feeling good. I think she takes a pill. I can't even remember which mutation she has, but whichever one it is, she just takes a pill. And she didn't want to see it. She
Yeah,
didn't want to hear all the other stories. So there's that too. You think you're doing good by talking to them, but some of them just want to
right,
not deal with it, which
right,
is fine.
right,
Everybody deals with it the way they can deal with it.
right, right. And it's so interesting, because I've always said, if this happened to me, I would do this or I would do that. And then when I was diagnosed with a stage 4 disease, I didn't know what to do.
Right.
And I'll be honest, I have a really hard time reading posts from people with my same disease who are doing very poorly,
Yes.
because it makes me think, oh no, that's me. That's going to be me.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, every time I see somebody that has progression, somebody on Facebook show, she's a 10-year survivor, I think, and now has progression and is
Yeah.
actually going to go into a clinical trial, hopefully. I think that's why I say waiting for the other shoe to drop, because you just don't
No,
know.
you
Even
don't.
after 18 years, you don't know.
Mm-mm. Absolutely not. And I think that's probably what should be the tagline for life. You just don't know.
That is it. That definitely should be,
That's
because,
everything. You know,
well, with everything, absolutely. You blink and life changes.
you do. You do. So
Nothing stays the same.
I see a white ribbon behind you. I have one as well.
I
Do you
see.
want to
Yes.
talk a little bit about how you got yours and all that good stuff?
We had a build. I don't know if it was last summer or the summer before. I think it might have been the summer before. Um, we had a build at one of the girls' houses, Michelle, and there was quite a good turnout because we have quite a good group of people here. And Chris Draft was there, and we just were, well, I wasn't cutting them out because I wouldn't go near anything like that, but I was, painting them white and putting on the things. I've given ribbons at my oncologist's office, which he actually already had from several people who used him also. And yeah, I gave one a girl that I went to grammar school and high school with that still stay in contact. She called me after she was diagnosed with lung cancer, and because she knew I had it. And actually last summer, I brought her a white ribbon, which she put right in her window. I can't because I'm in a condo and they don't allow it, but she lived in a house, and the white ribbon is just making people aware that, first of all, somebody said something about the stigma, getting rid of the stigma. I personally don't believe we'll ever get rid of the stigma.
Right.
Because it is maybe generations from now when it isn't so ingrained in people, but it is so ingrained in people right now that it's because of smoking. And as much as you can say to people, if you have lungs, you can get lung cancer, there's still the stigma attached to it. And I think, and hopefully, the white ribbon and many other things will make people aware that it's so much more than smoking. It's the environment. It's lungs. You've got lungs, they can get sick.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so before we go, do you have any tips for anyone who has just been diagnosed with lung cancer?
My biggest tip is find a community, because I didn't right away. And really, I think it was 2016 or 2017, which was well after I had been diagnosed. I went to a dinner that Chris Draft had put on here, and that's where I met this whole group of people. And find your people, because that is the most uplifting, even though sometimes it can not be, but it's having arms wrapped around you all the time, the feeling of arms wrapped around you all the time. These are people who, first of all, they know, they understand. Anybody who has been told you have cancer understands. You don't want anybody you love to ever hear those words, to understand, but we all understand, no matter what kind of cancer it is. I just think find your people, find your group, because that's gonna carry you through in good times, bad times, all times.
Absolutely. And those are the people that
That's
get
my thing.
you. Those are the people that get you when your
Totally.
family doesn't.
Right. Well, completely. And if you're scared about a scan coming up, or if you have a scan that isn't so good, they know. Even if they haven't had it, they know what you're feeling, and that is important. Through the years before I had that, I kind of was just going along and really living my life. But I can't even put into words what it meant meeting my people, my group.
Yeah,
It's everything.
that's
And
so important.
we care so much about each other. And that's my advice. Find your people.
Find your people. I think that's a great place to end our conversation today. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for being here, and thank you for all the support that you give to lung cancer patients, to me, to everybody
Always to
in the
you. You
community.
know, we love, cut it out or keep it in. I don't care. You know, we love you. I love you.
Thank you, Bobbi. I love you too. So finally, if you enjoyed our conversation today, give us a thumbs up and share the episode so that others can benefit from peer experiences. And if you have any comments or questions about treatment plans, talk to your doctor. Don't talk to me.
Right.
And if you have questions about the show, you can email them to info@unhealth.com. That's it for this episode.
Is that my thumbs up?
That's it.
Do I do it somewhere? Okay.
Thumbs up. Fantastic. Until next time, guys. Thank you.